I never believed in the old stories, but now I wish I had. When I took the job as a park ranger at the edge of an ancient forest, everyone warned me. I thought they were just hazing the new guy with tales about things lurking in the woods. I've heard it all. Ghosts of settlers, restless spirits, strange creatures that vanish in the night. But none of it ever stuck. Why should it? I was there to do my job, maintain the trails, watch over the wildlife, and make sure campers didn't do anything stupid. My first few months were uneventful, routine even. But that was before the forest started, changing. It wasn't an immediate shift. It began subtly, a creeping sensation in the air, like the trees were leaning in just a little closer, as if they were watching. The animals, too, seemed on edge, skittish, and unpredictable. Then came the whispers. At first, I chalked it up to the wind or the rustle of leaves, but no matter where I was stationed, I couldn't shake the feeling that I wasn't alone. I was patrolling one of the more remote areas of the park when I first heard it. A distant, almost playful laugh. It wasn't close, but it wasn't far either. It sounded wrong, like it didn't belong in a place like this. I stood still, waiting for it to repeat. But the forest had gone deathly quiet. No wind, no birds, not even the soft rustling of animals. Just silence. Thick, oppressive silence that pressed in on me from all sides. The temperature had dropped suddenly, a biting chill that raised the hairs on the back of my neck. I should have left right then, but I had a job to do. Or at least, that's what I told myself. That night, I barely slept. Every noise outside my cabin made me flinch, convinced that something, or someone, was lurking just out of sight. I told myself it was nerves, fatigue, or just my imagination running wild, but I couldn't shake the growing sense that I was being watched. Not by an animal, but something far older, far stranger. The next day, I found the first symbol. It was carved into the trunk of a tree near the main trail, deep and precise. A perfect spiral with jagged lines branching out from it like a twisted sun. I hadn't seen anything like it before, and I've spent years working in the woods. I radioed the other rangers, but no one had any idea what it was or who could have made it. Probably just kids messing around, they said. But the way they spoke, I could tell they didn't believe it either. Days passed, and the symbols multiplied. They weren't just on trees anymore. I found them on rocks, in the dirt, even etched into the side of my cabin one morning. It was as if something, or someone, was leaving me a message, but I had no idea what it meant. The air grew thicker, heavier with each passing day. The whispers returned, louder now, echoing just out of earshot, always there but never close enough to understand. Then I met an old man. He was walking the trails like he belonged to the forest, his weathered face barely visible beneath a wide-brimmed hat. He didn't say much, just muttered under his breath as we crossed paths. But his eyes, they were dark, almost black, and they looked right through me, as if he could see things I couldn't. "The forest remembers," he said, his voice a low rasp. "You're not welcome here." Before I could respond, he vanished into the trees, as if swallowed whole by the woods. I wasn't sure if he was a local or just another odd traveler, but his words stuck with me. From that moment, the unease I'd been feeling solidified into something more tangible, something more terrifying. The next week was a blur of strange occurrences. Shadows darting just beyond my flashlight's reach, strange animal tracks that led nowhere, and the feeling, the constant, gnawing feeling, that I was being hunted. My colleagues didn't seem to notice, or maybe they did, but they were too scared to admit it. One night, while on a late patrol, I stumbled upon something that sent a chill down my spine. There, in the clearing, stood a massive stone. It hadn't been there before. I was sure of it. It was covered in those same symbols, spirals, and jagged lines that seemed to pulse with an energy I couldn't describe. But it wasn't just the stone. Around it, standing motionless, were figures. tall, shadowy figures that blended with the darkness. Their eyes, glowing faintly in the gloom, were fixed on me. I froze, unable to move, unable to breathe. They didn't speak, didn't move, but I could feel their presence, heavy and suffocating. The whispers returned, louder this time, filling my head with unintelligible murmurs. My flashlight flickered and died, leaving me in complete darkness. When the light came back on, they were gone. But the stone remained, an ominous sentinel watching over the forest. That was when I knew I had to leave. Whatever was in that forest wasn't human, and it wasn't friendly. The other rangers were already talking about strange occurrences, but none of us dared to speak of it openly. We all felt it, the looming presence, the sense that something was watching, waiting. A week later, 2 rangers quit. They didn't give a reason, just packed their things and left. I wasn't far behind them. I didn't care about the job anymore. I just wanted to get out before whatever was in those woods decided it was time to come closer. As I drove away from the park for the last time, I glanced in the rearview mirror. For a split second, I thought I saw something standing at the tree line, watching me leave. But when I looked again, there was nothing but shadows. I've tried to put it behind me, but I can't. Every now and then, in the dead of night, I hear those whispers again, faint and distant. I can only hope that whatever it was stays in the forest. But somehow, deep down, I know it won't.